Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of NFL Draft Triple Take, brought to you by UPMC. I'm Mike Prisuta, joined as always by Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson. We're here to talk quarterbacks today. We've got the names on the board as we get ready for the NFL Draft at the end of April. And Matt, I guess after last year, we're not only looking at the top of the class, eventually we're going to get around to Mr. Irrelevant, right?
Good point. It was a big deal last year, obviously, a little bit of an anomaly, of course, but interesting class here. They all have some questions.
And Dale, the class usually gets more interesting when we get into pro days and things of that nature, but I'm with Matt. I like a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I like them. I don't know that I love them, but as Matt just said, there's some question marks about all of them. For example, Hendon Hooker's coming off of an ACL injury. He might be perhaps 2 or 3 on this list, if he were completely healthy, but he's not. You could go on down the list with these guys and find something that you're like, yeah, I like him, but there's this. And so, I think that's kind of the thing with this class. Doesn't mean, though, that like 4 of them won't go in the top 10 this year.
No, it does not. Let's get to it and see how we've got them stacked as we speak. Dale, why don't you lead us off?
I will do that. And as I just mentioned, I have to put Hendon Hooker from Tennessee down here at number 5 because of that ACL injury, transfer from Virginia Tech. The last 2 seasons have been outstanding for him, over 40 touchdown passes both seasons, less than 10 interceptions both seasons. So he's done some good things there. At number 4, I've got the Penn State transfer from Kentucky, or now at Kentucky, Will Levis. Again, there's some question marks there. His tape from 2 years ago was much better than this past season, but they had a lot of graduations and things of that nature at Kentucky. It's Kentucky football. There's not a pipeline there, so you're dealing with that. At number 3, I got the combine hero, Anthony Richardson, lit it up. Obviously, you're looking at him. He's thrown about 380 passes in his college career, completed 54% of them. So there's still some question marks there. Probably needs a year to sit and learn a little bit. Then I've got C.J. Stroud at 2 from Ohio State. I think he's the outlier in the Ohio State quarterbacks. I know they've never had one that's really come in and hit at the NFL level. I think he might be the guy that could do that. And then at number 1, I have Bryce Young from Alabama. He's 5'10", but man, he's accurate with the football, does a lot of good things, can run with it a little bit. That's not the main part of his game, but he can do that, and he's a playmaker at the quarterback position.
It's an interesting list that you've got there, and we, of course, have already run or posted, I should say, the printed version of this, but I am calling an audible when I get to my 5.
That is your right to be wrong.
My list is changing, and I've got the same guys you've got, but you know what? I got the Greek god of quarterbacks at number 2 now.
Okay.
The physical package to me is beyond impressive, and I think ideal world, he sits for a year and takes a red shirt at the NFL level. But if you can't work it out that way, let him run around and make plays with his legs while he figures out what to do with his arm. It's impressive. My number 1 guy is C.J. Stroud of The Ohio State University.
Shocking, a Big Ten guy.
Well, like a lot of people, I was a little concerned. I didn't see him color outside the lines very often, and then it occurred to me that was because he really didn't have to do it very often. I know Ohio State lost to Michigan the last 2 years, but pretty much rolled through everybody else. What I saw in the Georgia game showed me that he can do what you need to do at the NFL level if he has to. He just didn't have to very often. Bryce Young, to me, has everything but the ideal size. And if I've got bigger options, that's where I would go. Will Levis, same kind of deal with Richardson. I think he needs some polish, but he can be an effective runner when healthy. And Hendon Hooker, another concern I have about him, they didn't just play a spread offense at Tennessee. They played a spread offense. I mean, they were sideline to sideline. I don't know that he's going to be doing that stuff on Sundays, but did it pretty well when healthy on Saturdays.
Yeah, I 100% agree. My list is actually the same as Dale's, but there's a lot of questions of all these guys. I also have Stroud 2. I have Young at 1. There's a lot of momentum, as you mentioned, though, about Stroud. I mean, that Georgia game was phenomenal for him. I mean, that was a different style of play. Just showed that he's capable.
Yeah, you didn't see him in, when he was playing Michigan State. You didn't see him have to break the pocket
Right.
and keep his eyes downfield and throw on the run and be accurate on the comebacks
Right.
or wait for the guy to clear in the end zone or tuck it and go with his legs. That one run against Georgia that he finished off by putting his shoulder down and running through a couple guys really got my attention.
No doubt. And it's not his fault, but he's throwing to first-round picks left and right, and probably 5 of them actually when it's all said and done in terms of receivers there, which is remarkable. Phenomenal offensive line.
Best one's coming next year, right?
Exactly, right.
That's what he keeps saying at Ohio State. Well, yeah, well, wait, this other guy's coming next
And
year.
they're not wrong. But his accuracy is remarkable. He threw the football extremely well at the combine. I have Young 1 because I do think he has a great head for the game. He's a remarkable playmaker. But the size really worries me. I mean, he's tentatively 1 for me. And it's not because his inability to see the field or see amongst the trees. It's just the durability worries me. I mean, 17 games in the league, plus preseason, plus hopefully postseason. It's hard to hold up year after year. That's what really worries me about him, not his style of play at all. And Hooker's the last guy I want to talk about because I think he's being slept on a little bit because he is injured. He hasn't done anything lately. He's overaged. He's played in a strange offense, as you mentioned. But if he lands in like Detroit or Seattle, where there's an established quarterback,
Red shirt,
kind of red shirt for the year, and then take it over, he has a chance to be as good as any one of these guys. Everyone talks about the big 4, but I think Hooker's in their neighborhood 2 years down the road, in that neighborhood. So Richardson's obviously extremely impressive physically. What I don't have the benefit, or we don't have the benefit of doing, is sitting down with him and knowing what he knows, what he needs to learn. But boy, he has the ceiling up here.
Getting back to Young, I'm with Matt, Dale. It's not necessarily the height. It's a $194.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I
And
mean, it's definitely a concern. There's no doubt about it.
He holds up.
I do think that Kyler Murray, even though he weighed 207 at the combine, probably weighs closer than that now. But we've also seen Kyler Murray not finish the last 2 seasons.
Right.
I do think, though, that Bryce Young, you never see anybody get a clean hit on him. He is very good at kind of sidestepping the big hits. Can he do that at the NFL level? That remains to be seen. But I think he has, outside of that the size issues, maybe a few less of the red flags that some of these other guys have.
Last thing I want to talk about is Richardson again, because he is the Greek god of quarterbacks. And Daniel Jeremiah from the NFL Network and NFL.com, the draft guru that he has called Richardson the lottery ticket, or words to that effect, that, hey, the upside for him is higher than all these guys.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know if he's going to hit it, but he's got perhaps the largest or highest ceiling. Would you buy that? And if you were picking a QB, would you roll the dice in search of that?
Well, I think when you're looking in the QB market, you do want to swing for the fences. If you strike out here and there, it's worth it if you hit a couple home runs. And Richardson's the epitome of that. When I was scouting, it was entrenched in me that quarterbacks don't get more accurate in the NFL. That doesn't happen. Times have changed. Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. There's a long list of these guys, and I think a lot of it's because of these independent quarterback coaches that they take in the offseason, and all the different things that they do with their mechanics. And assuming he is a smart, eager young man, which everyone says he is going to take to all that outside coaching, well, he could be easily number 1.
To your point on that, Matt, I think a lot of that has involved the guys who are runners. Mm-hmm. And when you're in the pocket, you're running out of the pocket. A lot of time you don't take the time to set your feet correctly, and I think that leads to some of the inaccuracies with the throwing. Mm-hmm. But again, I look at him; he's a guy that's thrown 380 passes. I look at him very much like Trey Lance when he was coming out of school. Everybody said, "Oh, look at Trey Lance's upside to the upside." We'd thrown 350 or so passes over his college career. So
and not at Alabama.
And not at or Florida, or so. I mean, you could turn on tape of Richardson and say, wow, that was a great play. And then the next 3 throws are like, wow, what was that? Mm-hmm. That's just who he is at this point in his career. Can he be better? Sure. But to Matt's point about, taking the swing at him, it might depend on how safe your coach is. Is he safe in his job? How safe is your GM? Do they have to win this year? Because if they got to win this year, Anthony Richardson is probably not the guy for them.
Well, that's why I have him as high as I did, because to my knowledge, I'm pretty safe here. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
You got nothing to lose.
I'm assuming we'll be back here doing this next year, and I'm even more certain that we'll be back here much sooner than that as we go through the positions here from a video standpoint, taking advantage of our new toy here and moving the names around. So I want to remind everybody these are going to be coming, so keep finding us however and wherever you found us. Until the next time, for Matt Williamson and Dale Lolley, I'm Mike Prisuta. This has been the NFL Draft Triple Take, brought to you by UPMC.